Welcome to the next edition of the Real Estate Talk Show webinar series. Of course, this is the real estate webinar designed specifically for real estate and mortgage professionals, and the topic today is generating leads for your real estate business. I've got notes here on my desktop, so I'm looking up and down at the camera. It's not because I'm dyslexic or I've got issues, but I'm gonna make sure that I cover all the topics, because this video is a blatant attempt to entice you to come to the MasterMind seminar coming up next week at our Toronto office. Now, all the details are in your email if you got the link by email. If not, you're going to see the details on the screen as well and at the end of this video. But let me cut to the chase and talk you through just one part of what we're going to be talking about. Now, the seminar coming up is a full-blown 3 hours with a ton of content, and hundreds, not just hundreds, but thousands of agents have literally gone through this seminar, and we get overwhelmingly over 95% response rating, meaning people are glad they came, they wish they came. And by watching this video and clicking on the link, you're actually able to reserve a seat for the seminar at zero cost. So you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. So I certainly hope you'll clear your schedule. But let me dive in and give you a sneak peek. Now, first up here is, I think it starts with really thinking about understanding the proper mindset, and we can't talk about what to do about your business without addressing what's going on in the industry. Number one, we know what's going on. There's increased competition. The regular marketing, the magazines aren't working anymore, the flyers aren't working anymore. I always make jokes about fridge magnets and garbage cans. This is not the way to go anymore. Technology has changed that forever with something called the internet, folks, and all of this is combined to make sure that for us as realtors, unless we know what to do about it, profit margins are going down, not up. Commissions, on the average listing are going down. We're even getting beat up on the buyer agent commission. We're seeing it go from 2.5 to 2.25 to 2 to, in some cases, $99. And for you mortgage professionals out there, you know what I'm talking about. There are rate shoppers out there that are looking to obviously get the best deal for themselves, and we're all being affected. So what do we do about it? Well, what do we do about it is we all, I say not all, but most are typically operating like chickens with our head cut off. We're taxi drivers, we're ad specialists, we're marketing experts, we're salesmen, we're IT technicians, we're doing phone sales, we're doing staging, some of them. Some of us are janitors and receptionists, and we're doing all of this, and this is not the way to operate. So when we talk about how to generate leads, you really have to understand it from the perspective of systems. Now, how do the best agents operate? And when I say best agents, I don't mean the nicest people with the nicest suits and the nicest car. I'm talking about those people that get the best results on a consistent basis and still have a life. Because I know a ton of agents, quite frankly, that make a lot of money and have zero life. They work 7 days a week, they work day and night. I'm sorry, I like my time off. I hope I'm talking to the people that are like me and like their time off as well. So when we talk about systems, we want to be able to figure out, how do we create a system that generates business for us and works whether we're there or not. In other words, we have a business and we own the business rather than the business owning us. So we look at what I would call the best practices of the top people in the industry, not just here in the Toronto market, the GTA, but all over Ontario, Canada, and for that matter, all over the USA as well. And I've had a distinct advantage of being able to work with some of the top professionals, and we're going to share some of these best practices at the upcoming seminar. Now, again, the details, the seminar dates are Thursday, August 30th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Just as a reminder, and if you've heard enough, you want to register, go ahead and click. But if you haven't and you want to continue, listen in, we're going to keep talking. So we've talked about the problem in our business. We've talked about how most agents operate and what to do about it. And if you haven't read a book, you want to write this down at the very least. Write down a book, the title of which is The E-Myth. The author is Michael Gerber. If you haven't read it already, it's a brilliant book, and it has nothing to do with real estate, but it has everything to do with how entrepreneurs can succeed or fail. And like it or not, we are entrepreneurs. We are independent salespeople trying to generate a business for ourselves on our own. And I love this quote from the book. The purpose of your life is not to serve your business, but the primary purpose of your business is to serve your life. So we start with that premise. And I want you to imagine Starbucks. Everybody knows me, knows I live in Starbucks. I have meetings there. I start with my coffee there. I end with my protein shake in the afternoon there. But if you think about Starbucks, and if you've ever been to Starbucks, what you have to agree about is they're consistent. The service is the same, the drinks are the same. Say what you want about pricing and all of that, but the experience is the same in every single Starbucks. And I've been to Starbucks in many different countries, and a latte is a latte is a latte, and the service is consistent. They hire the right people to give you the right service, and it's not done unless there's systems. And if we can look at Starbucks as something that we can emulate, then I think this is what we should have sort of as, that's our operating standard. When we look at our operating business, the real estate business cycle, the way I see it, and one of the ways I see it, is it operates in 4 key areas. Number 1 is finding quality leads. And that probably is the single biggest question we get off our website or at our live seminars. How do I get more leads? But it's not all. Finding leads is just one component, okay? But you got to picture it like, I picture it like a circle. At the top of the circle is finding quality leads. What's next? Well, you have to interview people. You get the leads and you have to convert them. You have to be able to entice them on the phone call or face-to-face to say, hey, meet with me so we can discuss working with me as a buyer, as a seller, as a borrower, as an investor. Once you interview people and you've got some that will agree to work with you, now you have to think about, what are my systems for creating a world-class service? Now think about Starbucks. World-class service. Why? We want repeat and referral business. And then so we have the circle. You find leads. You compel them to want to work with you. They work with you, you provide excellent service, and now you get satisfied customers that will do what? Provide more leads with you. Now, if you talk to any of the most successful agents that have been in the business for a while, they will tell you, I would guess in most cases, 90% or more of their business is coming from where? From their past clients, from their warm market, from their database. Now, if you're newer in the business, or you've had a temporary glitch where you don't have enough repeat and referral business coming in, you need to talk about how to generate leads, and we're gonna get to that in a second, okay? Because remember, there are 2 main sources of leads. We've touched upon what I call warm leads, which is all of the people you already know. But then the second component is cold leads. Cold leads meaning these are people that you don't know. So we're talking about, leads you get online, leads you get in print, leads you get in a farm area, open house, anywhere where you're meeting new people that you didn't already know. And we're going to focus our call today on cold leads, okay? So if you're going to focus on any aspect of your business, you have to know where you're going. So my first question to you, imagine we're sitting face to face, I would say, what is your vision? What do you want? How many leads? And I asked the question, what do you want? But the only way we can get what we want is if it's measurable. So a backup question would be, how will you know you got it? So people often tell me, I just want more leads. Well, more isn't precise. You need to be specific. Well, how many leads would you like? Well, I'd like twice as many as I have already. Well, how many do you have now? And do you want buyers or sellers or investors? How many of each? How fast would you want them? What price range are you thinking about? Are they condo buyers or sellers? Are they house buyers or sellers? Are they refinancing or are they financing their first purchase? You need to be laser specific and focused on what you want. And you need to understand this. The advice that anyone can give you for your business has to also come from the framework of, where are you in your business? Because I look at, I would say maybe, there's a lot of ways to look at it, but 4 key areas of a real estate agent or real estate broker's business. Number 1 is survival, okay? That's the first stage everybody needs to get to. You're covering your bills. Number 2 is stability. In other words, you're doing well and you're growing. You're not at whoopee yet, but you're going from survival to stability. That's a good sign. Next is success. Success to me is, well, you're making enough to pay the bills. You're having a good life, and you're growing consistently and regularly. Last step is significance. And what do I mean by significance? Well, significance is, the business runs itself, and you're actually making an impact on people's lives because you're helping a large quantity of people. So we go from survival to stability to success to significance. And what's next? Well, another book I'll recommend, and you'll hear me recommend a ton of books, Stephen Covey's Habits of Highly Effective People, the 7 Habits. He's written another book called The 8th Habit, but read the first book. This is the classic. This is the one I probably read 10 times, and you got to read again and again and again. And when we talk about that, and when we talk about success habits, he talks about being laser specific, and when it relates to real estate, we're talking about selecting your target market. Now, I know many agents are trying to be all things to all people. They'll help a buyer anywhere from Oshawa to Oakville, and they'll take a listing anywhere from Newmarket to downtown. Well, you can do what you want with your business, but when you're focusing on your marketing for your business, you have to be laser focused, because you really can only look at one market at a time. And now it could be first time buyers, it could be resale condo buyers, it could be pre-construction projects, it could be a specific farm area, it could be professional groups, you could be targeting engineers, for example, or dentists, or retirement groups. There's a lot of different ways you can specialize, and now you can work with multiple markets, but you have to be working with one at a time. And you got to remember this when you're looking at your marketing. You got to remember this: 80 to 90%. I always picture a big iceberg. And when you look at an iceberg, there's only a portion of it that's visible, and then under the water, there's the rest of the iceberg. Well, that's where most of your customers are, because only 10 to 15% are ever visible, and the rest, why are they invisible? Well, they're scared. They don't want to be talking to any pushy salespeople. They don't want to offer any information yet. They're the kind of people that will send you an email about your listing, but not offer their name or their number and so on. So you got to remember that people are scared, and the way to get them is to understand what's worked in the past. What's worked specifically in our business is what matters. Again, also, when you're looking at your marketing, you need to quantify what kinds of buyers. Now, I always talk about, great clients versus fun but hopeless. So what's a great client? What's a great buyer? What's a great seller? And the approach you have to take with this is, our job is not to convince anybody, because that's also a big thing these days, is how's the market? Is it the right time to buy? And of course, they're expecting us to respond in a certain way. And some of us are spending our time trying to convince people. That doesn't work either. We want to look at, being an agent that's selecting more than convincing. So our marketing should be generating a lot of leads in. And then our job is to focus and qualify who's interested, who's ready, who's motivated, who's a good buyer, who's a good seller, and try to get the appointment. That's really the job at this stage of the game. So there are different types of clients. We're focusing on just the good ones. And what are the qualities of a good buyer? Well, they're qualified financially. They know exactly what they want, and they're ready to take action. What are the qualities of a good seller? Well, they're prepared to sell it at market value. They're okay paying a real estate commission, and they're happy and ready to work with us. This is our job. Now, when we get back to lead gen, when we talk about lead gen, and again, we're focusing on marketing to generate cold leads, new people we haven't met. There's a couple of key steps, and I'm going to fire through them quickly. And at the seminar, we're going to go through these in a lot more detail. But this is what works in traditional marketing in a lot of different industries. But this is also what's specifically working right here in the real estate business. Number one, you need a compelling headline. And I'm sorry, but those of us that are just pushing a photo of ourselves, saying we're number one, or we're this, or we're that, or we're great, or we provide fantastic service, that is too adsy. It's typical salesman BS, and people just don't listen to that. What has to be what cuts through the clutter, though, because you think about all the advertising that people are bombarded with. What cuts through the clutter is, number one, a compelling headline. For example, free report shows you the top 10 ways to avoid paying too much during a bidding war. Or a free guide can show you how to get the best possible mortgage rate by looking at applying to 30 different lenders with one application, etc., etc. And you've probably all seen this kind of advertising out there, but we're going to walk you through and show you how this advertising specifically works. So number one, a compelling headline which offers valuable information. This is what will compel people to come in. It should use conversational language, and it should be easy for the client to get the info. In other words, drive traffic to either a free recorded message or a landing page, a page on your website. And then once you get those leads in, there has to be a scripted follow-up process. How do we deal with their questions, and how do we compel them to want to meet with us? How do we demonstrate that we are professionals that aren't pushy, and how do we demonstrate we've also got something of value to compel them to come in and to compel them to want to meet with us? And then of course that will give us the opportunity to get new clients. We also need a drip campaign for those that aren't ready. We need to track results. And we also need to measure, as I talked about, ROI, return on investment. We don't want to be spending too much money on our advertising, and a good guideline is 20-1 or a 5%. So, for example, if I'm going to spend $1,000 on advertising, I want to be able to generate $20,000 in sales. And I think we can all agree, how many 1,000s would you spend if you could generate $20,000 in sales? So 20 to 1 or 5%, 5% as a function of sales. That's kind of the guideline. And with all of this, because depending on the message, target market, the message, the medium that we're using, the other mantra is test, test, test. Marketing is always a test, because we never know what works, and sometimes what's been working for a long time will change and it will evolve, and we need to change headline, we need to change medium, we need to change message, target market, etc. So there are ways to get leads in, and there are proven, tried and tested processes, headline systems. We're going to share as much of that as we can at the next seminar. So you want to really take heed here, clear your schedule, and join us. What have I missed here? Well, I got to give credit to my good friend Anthony Robbins, and no, we don't hang out and play polo, but I've been to his seminars, I listen to his tapes, and I'm reading books of people like Anthony Robbins and other success coaches, and there's a unified message, and that is, you need to know what you want. You need to know specifically what you want, and yes, we're talking about goal setting, but then you have to follow a proven system. This whole trying this and trying that, and one of the biggest mistakes I think realtors makes is they follow what most of the other realtors in their office or their area are doing without having any clue whether it's working or not. And I hate to say, most of us have burned thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on systems that simply do not work. But at the end of the day, you also, for success, you have to decide you want it and commit to taking massive action. Now, the massive action I want you to do, of course, is to come to the next MasterMind seminar. It's next week, Thursday, August 30th. It's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You'll come down. I'll expect you to turn off your phone and focus, because we're going to dive into the conversation about what you really need to do to get your business to the next level. We've had thousands of people come to the seminar and pay hundreds of dollars to attend. You can reserve your seat for zero cost, so all the excuses are gone, folks. Come down Thursday, August 30th, and we will walk through exactly what you need to do to get your business to the next level. But you have to want it. So I'll see you on Thursday, August 30th. Have an amazing day, and go sell something.